Hi everyone and welcome back to the channel. So in this video I'll be unboxing, testing and reviewing this drill press made by Scheppach. It's the model DP55. Right, so here is the Scheppach DP55 bench drill. I recently bought this online and it arrived this week. So just taking a quick look at the box then, there's a bit of information on here. It's 710 watts of power. The RPM goes from 500 to 2600 per minute. It's 240 volts. The maximum depth that you've got of drilling is 280 millimeters. The size of the body is 320 by 305 millimeters and it weighs 10.5 kilograms. So now let's take a look at what you get inside the box. So you get the instruction manual, you get the handle, very different looking to your conventional style of drill press handle, and this is like a hard resin with some rubberized finish on it. Here is the base. So there's the base, nice aluminium, lightweight, shiny and generously sized base, and there's holes here to attach it to the workbench. Here is part of a clamp that you can use in conjunction with the base. Here is like a guide for your drilling depths, I think. Safety visor. Here's the other part to the clamp that comes down on the tube of the machine and clamps your workpiece here. There's a plug adapter from European to UK. And then there's a chuck key and some various other bolts and hardware to assemble it. And finally, here is the main part of the machine. So now I'm going to get this all assembled and we can take a closer look at it. So now the machine has been assembled. It was quite easy to do following the instructions in the manual. So starting off here at the base, this sliding clamp fits on and then it tightens on with these screws here, and that's good for clamping your workpiece if you've got something quite big. And then this back clamp, it slides onto the shaft here before you put the base on. So as you pull this down to a workpiece, it will clamp itself by tightening this screw here. The base fits onto the shaft. There's like a lug nut, like a locator nut. You put it in and there's two screws or bolts at the back to tighten it up. It came with these 4 bolts here which are to attach it to a desk, and there's 4 points on the base where you can attach it. It also came with this little Allen key slash Phillips head screwdriver to assemble it all. And then the chuck, this is not a keyless chuck model. I prefer a keyed chuck on a drill press. I just like to know I've got it nice and tight, and I think you can get a real tight fit with a key rather than doing it with your hand. The visor here, the protective visor, that just goes on with 2 little screws, nice and simple. The handle, there's a bolt that runs through here. You have to take that out, then slide this collar on, so this shaft here Then you put the handle on, put the bolt back and tighten it up, and that's now good to go. And then there's a pin at the back here that you put in, and this helps you to choose a depth that you're drilling to, and then you can lock it in position with this lever here. And then this bottom lever, you can loosen that off, and then you can lower or higher the drill depending on the height of the workpiece. Let's quickly go through the features on this drill press. It's quite basic. The on and off button here, you press and hold it to turn the screen on, and it will tell you that it's 0 RPM because it's not running at the moment. So you've got the option for the laser, like pinpoint laser function. You can turn that on, and you can see, and that will cross over where the drill is going to drill. You can turn that on and off with this button, and then you've got plus and minus to adjust the RPM speed. Press it once, it goes to 600, but you can dial it down to 500, and you can work your way all the way up. So this feature is good because you can choose the speed before you start the machine. For example, let's put it on 500, press start. And then while the machine's on, you can adjust the RPM. So when changing a drill bit, you've got the chuck provided here, and it's got this piece of metal on the end here that pushes in, and that, once that's pushed in, you know it's deep enough in to turn it. It's got a little paddle on here for your thumb, so you can press it in, depress that bit of metal. Now we know it's in far enough, and we can undo the chuck, and then just to put it back in, the same process, depress it and then tighten up. So with this machine, the table is the base. With the more conventional drill presses, you've got the base, and then you've got a separate table that runs up and down the shaft. With this one, the drill itself runs up and down the shaft, meaning you've got a greater depth of drilling potentially, and that you can bring the drill to the workpiece, so to speak. So if you loosen off this back knob, you can then use the handle to bring the drill down to where you're working, like so. You can then lock that off again, and now we can drill at this height. So as you can see, this is first use out of the box, and the laser seems surprisingly accurate. So of course you can use the provided clamp that sits on the shaft here. Seems quite useful, although you can also use a conventional drill press vise. You can just move this to the side out of the way, and then you can bring on your conventional vise such as this one. So with this pin here at the back, there's a thing here that you can turn, and then you can set the sort of distance you want the drill to travel, the depth. So set it to like 3 centimeters or so, then lock this off, and then the drill will only travel that distance, and then it will stop. So let's see if there's any run out on the bit, see how accurate the tip seems to be. I don't know if this is a perfectly straight drill bit, but I think it's fairly straight. I'm going to start off at 500 and work my way up to about 2000 RPM, and that should give a general idea of whether or not this chuck keeps the bit nice and straight. It does appear to be relatively straight. Now let's focus on the chuck area itself to see if there's any noticeable wobble. So I've now got the drill set up in its permanent home in the corner of the workshop here, and I've set it on a pine base. This base has some rubber feet. It measures 30mm thick, so it's nice and robust. I've just laminated 2 pieces of 15mm pine together, and then I've added some bolts and some washers to secure it. This way it's not permanently connected to the bench, and I can still move it around the workshop if I need to, but it just makes it that bit more robust and solid when you're working with it. Now onto the testing. As you can see, the clamp is really good at holding awkward pieces of wood. I want to drill right on the end of this workpiece, and the clamp is doing a great job at keeping it secure. Now I'm using a 10mm drill bit. I'm making a couple of racks to hold all of my drill bits for this drill press. I thought that'd be a good idea for testing it out. So I'm using all different size bits here, and it had no problem drilling all of these holes. There's this useful guide here on the side of the drill, and that tells you what speed you need to be at depending on the size of your drill bit and whether you're drilling into steel or wood. I decided to try out a 30mm Forstner bit, and I've got the RPM set to 500. And the drill made a nice clean hole. I then increased the RPM to 1500 to drill some thin steel, and again the drill had no problem drilling this metal. Okay, so that is about it for this video. So my first impressions on this drill press, very good. I think it's good value for money. I've enjoyed using it. I used it to make this rack here at the back to hold all of the drill bits, and I made a base for it as well. I think the clamp works very well, although the surface area on the clamp is a bit small, so if you're clamping down softwood, be careful not to dent or mark the wood. But apart from that, I don't really have anything negative to say. The guard here works well. It comes up and stays up, and then it goes back down again. The chuck seems to work just fine. I haven't had any issues with any drill bits slipping. I've got used to adjusting the height of the drill when needed and then locking it into place and using the handle. The handle is a bit strange and it takes a while to get used to, but it's actually quite functional in its design. You can grab onto these top bits here and pull it down. The depth stop is actually quite useful. I've been using that too quite a bit. And I think the best benefit on this drill is that you can quickly and easily adjust the speed of the drill on the screen here. The screen works well. I haven't used the laser that much, but it is useful. I just haven't used it too much yet. All in all, I think it's a decent drill press for a hobbyist, a DIYer like myself. I wouldn't recommend it for heavy duty use, everyday sort of industrial use. It's not designed for that, but I think it's a nice drill. So if you did find this video useful, please remember to like and also consider subscribing for more DIY related videos. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.